Ang isa pa natin kailangan ipaliwanag sa ating mga taga-subaybay, Attorney Matt, yung sinasabi nga po ng Korte Suprema. Ang sabi ng mga former justices ng Supreme Court, nagkaroon daw ng bagong rules. Nag-impose ang Supreme Court ng bagong rule na kumbaga yung, di ba sinabi, unconstitutional kasi nga hindi nasunod ang due process. Na wala namang requirement sa Constitution na ang respondent dito sa, in this particular case, si VP Sara, yung respondent should be given a copy. Nung, di ba, na kasi yung one-third verified ng lumagda yung at least more than one-third nga nung House members ang lumagda, tapos transmit sa Senate. So ang Korte Suprema daw, dito sa decision niya, na sabihin na hindi binigyan ng pagkakataon o opportunity ang respondent, bigyan mo ng kopya, bigyan mo ng pagkakataon na sagutin yung reklamo to answer the complaint before the complaint was transmitted to the Senate is a new rule not found in the Constitution. So paano po natin papaliwanag yun sa ating taga-subaybay, Attorney Matt?
Okay. When the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution, it usually involves mga cases na merong, kung mapapansin nyo, there could be mga gaps. If you will look at the Constitution, it's plainly written, very simple. It doesn't even provide for yung procedures kung paano mo i-transmit, paano mo i-calendar.
Hindi fleshed out. Walang specifics, no?
It's not there. It's the general. It gives you a general overview on what is supposed to happen. Now, kung ganyan yung pag-interpret ng Supreme Court, yung due process must be observed in all stages of the impeachment complaint, then that is actually reading the Constitution as a whole. Kumbaga, when you read the Constitution, hindi mo pwedeng i-isolate yung specific articles or yung specific lang na sections and ignoring yung other portions of the Constitution. Kasi nga, if you read the Constitution, you read it as a whole. Meron pa nga ibang nag-argue on hindi kailangan ng, walang, the person who faces the impeachment complaint does not stand to lose life, liberty, or property. So why apply the due process? I mean, that is a very absurd position to take. Kasi nga, for example, a lowly government employee na magkaroon ng administrative case, sasabihan mo lang na since you're in government, you're holding a position of public trust, then you cannot consider your employment in government as a property right, unlike in the private sector. So anong ibig sabihin yan? Kung magkakaroon ka ng administrative case na pwede kang matanggal sa iyong pwesto, walang due process just because you're a government employee, that is a very absurd interpretation on due process. In my opinion, at the very least.
So, Attorney Matt, I forget already kung sino yung nakausap namin, no? Parang ang feeling niya, and marami pong who also agree, na the decision was, hindi naman hasty, no? Because medyo ilang buwan na. Pero at the very least, sana there was oral arguments, no? Para at least napakinggan din po ang House of Representatives. Parang it was a unanimous decision, 15 judges yata. Tapos yun na nga, sinasabi nga, baka mali pa yung mga timelines. Yung pagririnig, yung oral discussion, at least among themselves, and then they could have called resource persons to shed light on it. Wasn't that also remiss on the part of the Supreme Court?
No, I don't think so. When we talk about due process, it is plainly the opportunity to be heard. Very clear naman yung ginawa ng Supreme Court that the House of Representatives was given an order to respond to the petition, and they are also asked to deliver certain pieces of information for the court's consideration. That is in furtherance of due process. Now, whether or not oral arguments is a necessity, it is up for the discretion of the Supreme Court. Hindi kasi yan siya mandatory. It's up to, maraming cases before the Supreme Court are decided even without oral arguments. And if you have witnessed or observed itong mga oral argumentation before the Supreme Court, these arguments are just placed back in their memorandum anyway. So, considering that this is a case of, there is already, kung titingnan natin yung timeline, na-file na kasi yung yung impeachment or articles of impeachment before the Senate. And there is merong sense of urgency, kumbaga. Now, if you will look at if you will set oral arguments for the case, bibigyan mo ng chance lahat ng parties. You have the petitioners, dalawang group ng petitioners, may dalawang petition tayong pinag-uusapan. Yung mga respondents sasagot. Yung mga petitioners, magkakaroon din sila ng oral argumentation. And that can span months. And by that time, kung hindi mag-issue ang Korte Suprema ng TRO, the impeachment proceedings could already have concluded, making everything moot and academic.
So, kasi recently, naglabas na rin, I think it was Senator Jinggoy Estrada Jose, mga 19 to 20 senators, ang killing nila is tumalima, no, sundin yung desisyon ng Korte Suprema. And we know naman kasi ang impeachment, political exercise, di ba? Had it been different na iba yung constitution nung 24 na senador natin, mas marami kasi ngayon yung allied with Vice President Sara Duterte. And makikita nga natin na, sundin na lang natin yung desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Napag-uusapan dati, na which I think is already a moot point at this point in time, na yung Senate, yung upper house of the Congress, being a co-equal branch of government, ay has the choice na hindi tumalima doon sa desisyon po ng Korte Suprema? Atty. Matt?
Hindi po. Kasi when it comes to matters of what is constitutional or unconstitutional, the Supreme Court is the only institution that is given that power under our Constitution. So ngayon, kung sasabihin mo wag sundin ng Korte Suprema, then that would pose a very dangerous precedent because it effectively undermines the system of checks and balances in our Constitution. Isa pa, kung hindi mo susundin kung ano yung desisyon ng isang korte, then ang iisipin ng ordinaryong tao, anong silbi ng korte kung pwede namang hindi sundin? So it will weaken our system or our legal system and the public's trust and confidence in our judiciary.
Let's get together sa NET25. Sa NET25.